Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Shop Adventures, my weekly excursion where I leave the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ and search my bounty of comics, graphic novels, collectibles, action figures, and all things in between. First things first, time to talk about what stood out from last week's bounty, and Detective Comics was the best book last week. All the books were... Nothing was bad last week, but Detective really... if I had to rank them and make a number one, Detective was number one. I like what they're doing. It kind of almost gives a horror movie vibe with what with what Mr. Freeze is wanting to do, with his plan that has been kind of being that was being teased in the previous issues of Detective Comics. It's this real weird horror movie vibe where he's trying to capture all the different women that look like Nora and do some kind of experiment this new potential medicine that could help Nora live on them because they look the most like Nora Freeze. It kind of gives somewhat of a horror movie vibe to it, but I dug it. Peter Tomasi once again knocks it out of the park with Detective Comics. Batman and Superman was also really good with the fight with the Shazam who laughs, and the first two issues have been really, really awesome. I've liked both of them a lot. Terrifics was very, very entertaining with the Terrifics going to Bizarro World and meeting their version of the Terrifics. It's they're not everybody's cup of tea, but I find Bizarro entertaining and kind of in small doses. I wouldn't want to read a Bizarro story every month, but for a small arc with some wackiness that Bizarro brings in a book like Terrifics, it's good. I like what they're doing so far with it. Just lots of good books. Action was decent. I was not familiar with the Naomi character, but they did a good job explaining that for people that didn't read her previous series, so I give kudos there. Not on the level of the other three books that I mentioned earlier, but I like that because it kind of gave you an understandable Cliff Notes version of who she is, what she's about, why she is how she is, and it didn't make me feel like I had to go back and read all of her books that have been out so far to understand her. And Avengers was also very good. I like what they're doing with the Ghost Rider story and all the different Ghost Riders that are out there. It's this kind of almost somewhat reminiscent of a Spawn story if you kind of look at it that way. Just I don't know, I just got a real Spawn vibe from it, and yeah. So last week's bounty was very good. Hopefully this one's is. I will see you when I get back here to the homestead with this week's bounty. Hey everyone, I am back here at the homestead right here at Athletic Geek HQ. Got an interesting bounty this week, so let's get right to it. Start off in the world of Marvel with Savage Avengers number 6. The badass members of the Marvel Universe are splitting up into different packs, and we're going to have Conan and the Punisher as a duo in for this particular issue. And while I'm not really a huge Punisher fan, I haven't read a lot of Conan. I'm still interested to see kind of what a pairing like that will bring, and just because the differences in characters, just that's like two almost completely opposite ends of the spectrum. In terms of just how, just what kind of character they are and just what they're about. Other than the fact they're just both kind of gritty, badass kind of, kind of heroes in the world. You have one with a sword and spear and one with guns. So I'm interested to see how the Punisher will be in Conan's world. And it's been a fun book so far, and I really enjoyed it. Savage Avengers number 6. From there we go to Daredevil number 12. This is part 2 of the Through Hell story. The cop that's wanting to put an end to vigilante justice had kind of a heart-to-heart talk with Spider-Man last issue, and we will see how that heart-to-heart talk continues with how he feels about vigilante justice and Daredevil as things progress. I've enjoyed Chip Zdarsky's run on this book so far. It's been head and shoulders better than the previous writer. And hopefully the momentum keeps up, and hopefully it continues to be a good book, as good as it has been, and as as good as it was when Mark Waid wrote it. Daredevil, number 12. From there, we go to House of X, number 6. I'm glad there's only 2 more weeks of this. Last week, it was Powers of X then, last week, but it wasn't a bad book, but I still don't like this style of writing. I'm still not really a huge fan of just the presentation of this book. It hasn't grabbed my interest, and I'm ready to be done with it, so thank God it's ending soon. House of X, number 6. There you go. Gonna go to the world of DC now, and we have the final issue of Batman and TMNT. It's the 3rd team up, the 3rd volume. Sad to see this one end. It's been a fun ride, and it's been a really, really great pairing. When they first announced this, I was not sure how that it would be and how it would come across. Several years ago, or maybe a few years ago, or not. Several makes it seem like it was a real long time ago, but it was just a couple of years ago. When they announced this, I was worried that, maybe it'd be too much of a contrast in between the darkness and TMNT, but that was before I really started divulging deep into TMNT comics and realizing the comics are very different than the TMNT that I watched on Saturday mornings, but it's been a great ride, great team-ups, great chemistry. It's been dark, it's been light, it's been fun, it's been serious. It's everything that you could like in comic books, and this is the conclusion. It's had ups and downs, but I've enjoyed all of it, and I'm sad that it's not going to be around anymore, but, I'm glad we got 3 volumes, 3 great story arcs out of, 2 legendary franchises in this culture. Batman TMNT Volume 3, number 6. And speaking of Batman, we have Batman number 80. John Romita Jr. going to be doing some artwork on this. Looks like he made the cover. Not sure. I'll have to look deep in there too. It really looks like a Romita cover, but I might be mistaken there. Batman and Catwoman are teaming back up. They're ready to take their city back from Bane. Bane has done tremendous harm to the city and to Bruce's life personally. We'll see how long that stays in continuity. So we'll see what happens now. I'm not going to beat the dead horse on how I feel about Tom King. There's some days I want to hug him, some days I want to hit him. But, he's got me wanting to read this issue. So I guess he's doing his job all right, at least right now. Batman, number 80. From there, we go to The Green Lantern, number 12. Kind of interested in just seeing what's going on with this book, because it doesn't look like it's taking place with the Year of the Villain stuff affecting it, so I'm just kind of curious if they're going to explain that, or I'm just kind of... One, it's nice to kind of get a break from it when that's... And I understand it's a good idea for the Year of the Villain to encompass all of the DC universe, because if it's supposed to be that big, it should have... there should be things going on with every DC book. On the flip side of things, sometimes it's nice to read a book and that not be a factor, and you kind of get away from that. I wonder if down the road they'll explain why this is not taking place in that. I mean, I hope it's not a different universe, but I don't know if this is a prequel or takes place after the events of the Year of the Villain, or what's going on. Maybe down the road they'll explain it. Maybe they will not. I'm not sure yet. Been an up and down book, but for the most part, I've enjoyed it. And, kind of nice not to kind of be reading a book where Lex isn't, you know, in charge of everything, if you will. Yeah, the Green Lantern, number 12. And from there, the final comic book in this week's bounty is Justice League number 33. The League, much like the Savage Avengers, the League is split up into different groups, traveling all across time, meeting different versions of the Justice League, different teams that stand for the same morals as the Justice League, and attempt to stop, well, the Legion of Doom. Been fun so far. Really like what Scott Snyder's doing with this book, and yeah, it's always been a good book every time I've gotten it. And just judging by the cover, it looks like this might be a pretty monumental issue. So maybe, maybe not. We will see. I've enjoyed the book so far. Justice League number 33. And the final part of this week's bounty is I picked up this cool little Batman Universe mini bust that I've been collecting. You've seen on previous adventures. Haven't picked up one in a while. Got this cool Batgirl of Burnside mini bust. I love this run on Batgirl. I have a giant statue of the Batgirl of Burnside, and this little mini statue, little mini bust will look really, really cool in the living room right next to it. These are all really, really well done. I've loved every piece that I've picked up from this line, especially the villains. But yeah, really cool. They even have the cell phone. I'm curious to get it out and see if there's any design on the cell phone or not. Actually, we'll get that out right now and see. I might be just setting myself up for disappointment in case there isn't. Come here, you. Oh yeah, there is. I mean, I don't know how. Yeah, you can tell she's even got the image in there. That's a really nice attention to detail on this for a very affordable mini bust. So yeah, that is really awesome. So yeah, very happy I picked this up, and like all the other little mini statues and mini busts, it comes with a cool little magazine with some facts and backstory on Batgirl, and it's even got some stuff in there talking about the different women that have been under the Batgirl cowl and how the characters evolved through the years. So yeah, really, really cool, and yeah, I'm glad I picked this up now. All right, so yeah, that's awesome. I'm on cloud nine after seeing that. That was a really awesome little mini bust there. Statue mini bust. I kind of interchangeable, but yeah, that is it for me this week. Let me know what you picked up at your local comic shop in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share, subscribe for more content, not just from the world of comic books, from the world of pro wrestling, gaming, anime, and all things geek culture. Go like my Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89. Every Thursday, you will find my Collection Comic of the Week blog on there that is exclusive to my Facebook page. But other than that, I'm out. Y'all be cool. Later.